this week on the Bubble Chat. So I went like this. It's like you can hold a baby, but their head and their legs are gonna look in the palm of your hand. Like he was like,
not even a block of cheese. Because
well,
why do they not know that she is allergic to walnuts and they allow the dish to be?
See, like she said, bitch, is a walnut in it. But the thing was, I believe at that time, I think they should have done the allergy test. Like,
Margaret's not the first to speak about her bad experience with Ellen. Let's not forget the onset bullying allegations that came out in 2020. 10 former employees of
she got 11 kids. So she was probably looking at the cameras for her house to make sure they were safe and nobody was doing nothing to the kids. Take the asses to court when they start doing that extra shit if they got the money to do so. Take the asses to court. It's a civil lawsuit. Or file a restraining order against that person.
I don't know. But I'm thinking about Emmett Till. Like, bitch, you just gonna lie? You just lying for what?
But she lying to herself. Brenda Song may be experiencing a lot of mental health issues. She was a Disney kid. And we don't know what she experienced.
So was Ariana Grande.
That was a different generation. Brenda Song Brenda Song's in her 30s.
Hey y'all, and welcome to another episode of the Bubble Chat. I'm your host, Joanne, with Gavin McRory and Adonis Concierge. If this is your first time tuning in, welcome to the Bubble, where we talk about everything from pop culture tea to real life mess, music, drops to moments that made us stop and think twice. And if you've been rocking with us since day one, we just want to say thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you so much from the bottom of our hearts. Whether you're getting the kids ready for summer camp now that school's out, at least to those who haven't failed their classes and had to take a summer class. No, but we're still saying you guys love us well. And whether you're heading to work or just chilling with a glass of something strong, whether it's wine, vodka, maybe water or soda, we're just glad.
Kool-Aid. Now, before we get into today's lineup, let's keep it real. This isn't your average podcast. This is the kind of space where we don't sugarcoat, we don't dodge the tough stuff, and we definitely don't whisper when the time's to speak up. You'll laugh, maybe you'll roll your eyes, and every now and again you'll catch yourself saying, "Did they just say that?" And did.
Well, here on the Bubble Chat, we talk about what's going on in the world, but through the lens of how it really feels to be in it, we bring you stories, interviews, and hot takes that matter. From the headlines people are arguing about online to those little moments that get lost in the noise. If it's trending, if it's wild, or if it's overdue for a conversation, we're not letting it slide by.
And let me just say, you never know who's popping in. We've had artists, activists, glam gods, and even a couple of unexpected tea spillers. Every episode feels a little like group chat energy, where 1 second we're laughing over a celebrity's outfit and the next we're calling out injustice. It's not always polished, but it's always real.
Y'all, we got to spill a lot of tea. So grab your snacks and your feelings and maybe a fan, because the Bubble Chat is live. It's loud and exactly what this week's been waiting for. Now let's get into these hot topics. Like the wise queen Wendy Williams once said, how you doing?
How you doing?
Mm-hmm.
Well, first up, we want to give an update on Adriana Smith's case. 2 episodes ago, we talked about how she was declared brain dead after suffering intense headaches that were misdiagnosed as migraines. Doctors gave her medication, and by the time they realized it was something more serious, and it was too late. Sadly, Adriana has now been taken off life support. She remained on machines long enough for the doctors to deliver her baby through an emergency C-section. The baby was born prematurely and is currently in the NICU, fighting to survive. Georgia's abortion plans played a huge role in this. Even though Adriana had no brain activity, the state legally recognized her pregnancy as a reason to keep her on life support. Her family had no real choice. They were forced to wait until the baby was born before they could say their goodbyes. It's heartbreaking because this woman didn't get the care she needed, and her family was caught in the middle of a legal system that valued politics over people. And of course, our hearts go out to Adriana's family and others affected. Do you do law? What do you think, Butler? Do laws like this really protect life, or do they just take away a family's right to grieve and make decisions with dignity? I want to start off by saying this. I've been thinking about this a lot, and it's honestly hard to put into words of how preventable this whole thing was. It didn't have to end like this. Adriana went to the hospital in pain, suffering from intense headache, and instead of running proper tests or digging deeper, doctors assumed it was migraine and gave her medication, which is obviously not enough. And it's also not how healthcare should even work to begin with. When someone's in that much pain, especially repeatedly, you don't just patch it up and send them home. You investigate. This situation highlights something we've seen far too often where systems, especially in women and women of color, are downplayed or brushed aside. It's disgusting because the signs were there. And while I don't want to place blame recklessly, it's fair to say that with the right care, something could have been done. Her life may have been saved. This shouldn't be normal. It shouldn't be a tragedy for people to realize how imperative it is to listen to patients, really listen and take their concerns in its seriousness. The healthcare system honestly needs to do better, not just in this one case, but across the board. And I'm praying that her baby continues to grow stronger each day. And I also hope that this leads to real change, not just headlines, not just empty, but action, because this shouldn't be even happening to begin with. That's my 2 cents.
So very much so true. I'm going to still stick with the line of commentary that I had before, that yes, it's very, very sad that she went through what she went through. Excuse me, but the silver lining of the matter is that we have the baby is here.
Yeah.
And there's any kind of analogy in the movie Soul Food, the grandmother had a dream about fish, and she said, "Someone's going." Or when she said she had the dream about fish, she said, "Oh, someone's gonna have a baby." But also in the family lineage, when someone passes, someone ends up being pregnant, and then new life comes. So that was one big unfortunate and fortunate circumstances of we lost a life, we gained a life. We had a dream of fish that it became, and we lost a mom. Like, super sensitive subject. We're gonna just pray for the family and the baby that I heard was born 1 healthy pound.
Yeah. Anything you want to add, Jasmine?
It's a touchy subject as a woman and as a mother, just to know, you know, just to know that the family wasn't given any consulting opportunities to have their thoughts brought to the forefront about what was going to happen with their daughter. It's unfortunate and just heartbreaking to know that this person was experiencing pain and it was minimized to migraines when it was really blood clots. And now we have a baby that's born prematurely, and it's unclear on what the side effects would be from all the trauma being, all the trauma experienced from the mother to the baby. And then who is to inherit the child? That's the other part of it, right? With all these complexities, like it's really a selfish way for a gray area in the legal system to be processed. Yeah, just they kept her on life support for months. It's just shit. I don't know how. Cause do you guys know who's gonna inherit the baby? Like, who does the baby go to? It doesn't clearly state whether or not she was married. So who's gonna be responsible for this baby?
Normally, it would
The
be
grandparents?
if, if if he doesn't step to the front, then it's going to be her mother or her side of the family. They'll reach out to maybe she have like a sibling Her mama, it always go back to the mom's side first. Daddy's maybe, mama's baby.
Well, is that person identified? Like, did a dad come forward and say anything? Because she was like 8 to 9 weeks pregnant.
The main part of the headline is that this woman is brain dead and they're keeping her alive and we're waiting for a baby to be born. I didn't think about, now this is what I thought. I was so unaware of most of the details. I thought that maybe she was like 5, 6 months pregnant.
Right.
And you know what I'm saying? And they're keeping her, and then that's like a 10, 12, 15 weeks because now she's like 7, 8, 8, 9 months pregnant. I didn't know that she was like 3, 2 months pregnant, and then they kept her alive.
Yeah.
For her, the baby at 6 months.
Yeah.
And all that. Now this is it connects touching subjects. So I have a friend. He owns a restaurant. He's a chef, and he told me his backstory. He said when he was born, he said he was like 10 ounces, and I mean, that's why I went like this. It's like you can hold a baby, but their head and their legs are gonna withstand the palm of your hand. Like he was like
not even a block of cheese.
Yes, like a half a pack of slices. So and he's bigger than me. You know what I'm saying? Like so he was the living testimony of a premature baby, where nothing held him back, as in like his size, his ability, capabilities, all of those things. Right? I never would have thought that. So to know now that the mama, like, she was on like an IV, a liquid diet. Like, what was the baby really taking from the mother? And like when you said
trauma on a genetic cellular level.
Yeah, like I'm not like so. I'm thinking of the baby as like a cocoon in a cocoon a little bit. You see what I'm saying? Like, yeah, I didn't know she was that early on in her pregnancy. I thought she was at least 4 to 6 months pregnant, and then they prolonged it and kept it. I didn't know. Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's talk about something else, Jazz.
Well, we just wanted to take a moment to, of course, once again, send all of our love and support to Adriana Smith's family and everyone who knew and loves her. On behalf of everyone here on the Bubble Chat, our hearts are with them during this incredibly painful time. We're also keeping her newborn baby in our just hoping for strength, growth, and healing as they fight through these early days in the NICU. If we come across any verified GoFundMe pages or donation links to support their family, we'll make sure to include them in the show notes below.
Okay. Thank you for that. So Sunny Hostin recently shared a frightening on-air moment on The View. She explained that during a cooking segment featuring former co-host Debbie Montanopoulos, I do hope I said that right, in her Greek recipe, she had only ate a dish with walnuts, despite having a severe walnut allergy.
Oh, Monopolis.
Okay, Mid-segment, co-host Alyssa Farrah Griffin asked if walnuts were included. When the answer came back yes, Hostin panicked. She even scribbled a note to Alyssa saying, I am allergic to walnuts and feared for her life. Thankfully, the studio's on-site Disney medical team sprang into action. Nurse Jan arrived with an EpiPen and administered Benadryl right away, what Hostin described as a superhero swooping in just in time. Despite the scare, she soon recovered and and later praised the quick response. Turns out this was her first reaction in over a decade, and it was captured live on TV. A moment that started with a simple cooking demo turned into a real health emergency. But thanks to swift intervention, a tragic potential tragedy was avoided. In high pressure live environments, how can productions better anticipate and prevent allergic emergencies, even when guests bring harmless dishes? This was stupid.
Girl, keep a Disney medic on deck.
No, this was stupid. Because why do they not know that she is allergic to walnuts and they allow the dish to be?
See, like she said, bitch, is a walnuts in it. But the thing was, I believe at that time, yeah, I think they should have done the allergic test, like it's who's allergic to what, blah 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 blah, and then you could have made an alternative dish, would have made it so much better. But what was funny to me is that Jasmine said, "What do we need? This is stupid." Yes, we need a Disney medic named Jan with a Benadryl filled EpiPen.
All right, I'm gonna just give my real two quick real sorry. I'm just gonna give my 2 cents here, and it's my opinion, and it's not intended to tag anyone. But I do agree with Jasmine. This is really stupid, and I'm definitely giving Debbie a little bit of the side eye. Now, look, I'm no allergist. I'll say that up front, but I do know that if someone tells you they're allergic to something, specifically nuts, that's not something you take lightly. Nut allergies are fatal. We're not talking about a stomach ache or a rash. We're talking about I'm talking about someone's throat closing up, someone potentially losing their life over a goddamn ingredient. So the fact that Debbie came in with food containing walnuts and Sunny had to basically panic in silence while cameras were rolling, that's wild to me. And thank God Disney Studio medical team jumped in with Debbie Penniman because it could have ended so much worse. Honestly, they deserve a round of applause, but they could have been notified about this earlier, and I think they were notified. I just didn't think Debbie knew that she was allergic. So it made me think of people like Dominique Brown. We talked about it last year. She passed away after a severe allergic reaction simply because her food had an ingredient that she was very clear she couldn't have, which is likely nuts. That should have been enough. And sadly, it wasn't. Just like in Sunny's case, clear communication wasn't met with the seriousness it deserved. Now, I don't know if Debbie and Sunny had an intention behind the scenes or if it was just a really careless oversight, but either way, let this be a wake up call. If someone tells you they're allergic, believe them, respect it. Do not take risks with people's health because one harmless dish can turn into an emergency really, really quick. Full blown.
Well, not a bad dish or bad ingredient, but as Taylor Swift once said, baby, now we got bad blood. Because child Margaret Cho recently opened up about her long-standing discomfort around former talk show host Ellen DeGeneres. She recalled that in the 1980s, she opened up for that bitch in comedy clubs, but later on, that same whore started acting funny with her. She said when she was appearing on her show in the 2000s, this trifling cunt acted as though she had never met her. Cho has said it felt real creepy and the shit was drastically weird. That someone she had known from her early days treated her like a motherfucking stranger. Well, on memory that really stung was when David Bowie complimented her elaborate Chinese warrior outfit on Ellen's show. But that moment was edited out of broadcast. Cho found out later from a producer that trifling ass skank Ellen had never mentioned on the air, and then she took the shit personally. So Cho gonna fuck around and describe Ellen as being she described Ellen as not being not nice, real salty on the pork side to me for most of my career, and she's not alone. Others have labeled Ellen as scary and cited backstage reports of a toxic workplace atmosphere. In Ellen's 2024 Netflix special, For Your Approval, she even joked that her be kind. So, bubblers, does the pressure to maintain a public brand sometimes trap people into behaving inauthentically, even towards friends? Where do we draw the lines between image and real connections?
Honestly, I'm not surprised this is one of those stories that's coming out now. It's really not hard to believe that Margaret didn't feel brave enough to speak on it back then, which is understandable. Because when someone's at the height of their influence, especially in Hollywood and the entertainment industry, it can be intimidating, sometimes even risky to say anything negative, especially when that person has built a whole brand on being kind. But here's the thing. Margaret's not the first to speak about their bad experience with about her bad experience with Ellen. Let's not forget the on-set bullying allegations that came out in 2020. 10 former employees of the Ellen DeGeneres show described the work as toxic. There were claims of fear, manipulation, and even retaliation. That wasn't just a bad day, that was a pattern. Even singer Grayson Chance, who was once celebrated by Ellen and signed to her label, from what I know, went on the record to say that he felt completely abandoned by her and called her, quote, manipulative. And now we're hearing Margaret say Ellen acted like they had never met, despite working together in the early comedy days. That's more than just awkward, it's cold. So, yeah, I think what we're seeing right now is what happens when public image doesn't align with people are actually treated behind the scenes. The stories keep coming because people are finally feeling safe enough to tell them, and that speaks a lot of volume. Donish,
Well, we know that R. Kelly was nasty when he was the greatest songwriter in at one point. We know that Puffy is a nasty kink fetish freak, even though
I
he
was going to
did,
say that.
right? And
And we
and the
also know
list
that
goes
Dan Snyder has a foot fetish.
and the list goes on and on and on. Even Barack Obama, our president, we found out that he smoked cigarettes. He hid it for a long time. But once he got in that White House, that nigga was in that motherfucking yard. He was out there puffing because Michelle said, bitch, you ain't gonna smoke up in here. You see what I'm saying? So, like, um, and I can really agree and like connect and understand this because I am not a mean person, but I think by a lot of people's perception, I'm not necessarily like nice, and that is totally not true. I am so wonderfully awesome. I just have a verbal landmine as a mouth. That's it. But outside of that, I'm the sweetest, kindest guy you'd ever want to meet. But I am a walking verbal landmine at the same damn time. So it'd be hard to be my friend. You got to watch your step. I'm just saying. Jasmine.
How you feel, Gabby?
Hey, um, I'm giving grace in the sense that, Ellen, she portrays herself to be one way on in front of the camera, and it's very, very likely that although she portrays herself to be an extrovert, she may very well be an introvert or not know how to navigate awkward situations because of her lack of having to learn those skill sets. She's been in the limelight for so long. It's
What's
almost like,
a stem? Is she
huh?
a stem?
Is she what?
A stem.
What's a STEM?
A feminine stud.
Who, Ellen?
Like a stud, but that's feminine. That's what it's.
I don't know what she is besides I think she's Caucasian, right?
Ooh,
Just
white
so much.
fish.
I know she's pale. So yeah, those are my thoughts. I didn't have a big one for this one. Cause it's like this rich people problem, y'all in front of the camera shit.
You know how nephew get down. You know how nephew like his news. You
Are we
know,
talking
like
are we talking
If
about
you don't
Juneteenth?
stop,
you already started. What I mean, are we talking about Juneteenth? That's what Auntie just asked.
you get on my nerves.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, up next, we're going to be talking about Anthony Ramos. Now, if you're somehow not familiar with him for some reason, he rose to fame of playing John Lawrence and Philip Hamilton in the original cast of Hamilton. He also starred in films such as In the Heights, one of the Transfer movies, and The Twister. Google him if you don't know Anthony Ramos. On Watch What Happens Live, Ramos recalls finding Madonna during one of his Broadway performances, only she was glued to her iPad this entire time in the audience. He described it like this, and I quote, the most terrifying was Madonna with her iPad in her face. If you're not enjoying that much, you know the door is right there. You ain't got to stay there. End quote. But this behavior wasn't new. Back in 2015, Lin-Manuel Miranda reportedly banned her from visiting backstage after witnessing a similar tech distraction during Act Two. Another audience member echoed that the glaring screen disrupted the intimate setting. Madonna's team has not officially responded to those recent remarks. The Bubblers. In a world where performers are judged by their every eye, does checking your phone during a live show cross a line, or is it just rude? Where do we draw the boundary between personal freedom and respect for live art? Who wants to start?
I'm
She got 50, 11 kids. So she was probably looking at the cameras for her house to make sure they were safe and nobody was doing nothing to them kids. Because what? She do got hella kids. Am I tripping?
she do.
She got hella kids and she want to be out in the streets, but at the same time, she's a mother and has responsibilities. And I ain't heard nothing. I think she take care of them kids. Just like Angelina Jolie.
Yes, I was just gonna say it because
Yeah.
they got together, but I was gonna say they got a gang of kids too.
Mm-hmm.
Well, this is what I'm gonna say. Okay. These venues, I want y'all to make up your minds, okay? And you entertainers as well. Because when we go to the concert, this is not what is the game Simon Says?
Mm-hmm.
Because you tell us in the beginning, put your phones up, bring your phones out. And then in the middle of the goddamn show, here come the goddamn headliner, goddamn person on stage talking about, let me see your lighters. And you know, everybody ain't got no damn lighter because you ain't supposed to bring nobody, ain't supposed to be smoking at the venue either. But then when you put your lighter up, and you know, if you ain't got no lighter, you're going to turn on your iPhone, you're going to turn on your lamp, you're going to turn on your flash.
Right, yeah.
Don't confuse us. Either we can have it and use it, or we ain't and we don't. That's all I'm going to say. But I'm going to use my shit anyway.
Mm-hmm. I got 50, 11 kids.
All right, well, here's how I really feel about it. Part of me, here's how I really, really feel about it. Part of me is like Jasmine said, Madonna, Madonna has kids, and I don't know how many kids she really has, but maybe she was trying to like look after her kids to make sure that they're safe and nothing's wrong with them. I get that, but she could have handled that. But if that were to be the case, which I don't know for sure, she could have like taken care of that in the hallway, and she didn't have to necessarily stare at her iPad with millions of people watching the show. And let's be real. Most theater companies make it very clear before the curtain even arrives that no phone, no tablets, no glowing screens during the show. It's not just for the cast, but it's also for the audience too, because the light can be distracting. So I think if I know for sure that Madonna was really making sure that her kids are safe and stuff like and that that could have been taken out in the hallway. But that's how I really feel. I don't want to jump to conclusions too much.
Well, if you don't know Tracy Cyrus, he's Miley Cyrus's brother and a musician himself. Recently, he's made some explosive claims about his ex-girlfriend, actress known for her roles in Disney channels such as London Tipton and from The Sweet Life of Zack and Cody and On Deck Brenda Song. According to Tracy, during their years-long relationship, Brenda allegedly faked multiple pregnancies, pretended to have breast cancer and a brain tumor, and even staged a fake abortion completely with simulated blood just to manipulate him and his family. He says she also stole thousands of dollars from him. In one alarming incident, she reportedly claimed she had brain surgery, which he disproved by literally removing a bandage and finding no surgery marks. Good Jesus. These allegations came out in a series of Instagram posts, but so far, Tracy hasn't shared any hard evidence. Brenda Song hasn't responded publicly, and there's no word on any legal actions. It's a lot to unpack. Allegations about faked illnesses, money theft, and emotional manipulation. It raises big questions about when public relationships go private and how much we should believe without proof. When someone makes serious personal accusations on social media without evidence, how do we balance empathy for potential victims and responsibility about defamation and truth? Take them to court. I'm sorry. Take the asses to court when they start doing that extra shit if they got the money to do so. Take the asses to court. It's a civil lawsuit. Or file a restraining order against that person.
I just feel, I mean, I don't
Be-
know, but I'm thinking about Emmett Till, like, bitch, I mean, you just gonna lie? You just lying for what?
But she lied on herself. Brenda Song may be experiencing a lot of mental health issues. I mean, she was a Disney kid, and we don't know what she experienced.
So is Ariana Grande. Um,
That was a different generation.
you,
Brenda Song's in her 30s.
okay.
So she up there with that man that said that he got touched.
Oh, shit.
well, I'll be real with you guys. I don't even know what to make of it. I was way too young to really be paying attention to the relationship back then. So hearing all this now, years later, feels kind of surreal. Trace came forward with some really serious accusations claiming that Brenda faked pregnancies, faked having cancer, and even taking abortion. That's fucking heavy stuff. Now, let me be absolutely clear. There is nothing funny or light about being pregnant, having cancer, or going through an abortion. Those are deeply personal and painful experiences, and if someone were to fake them, that's not something to just brush off. But at the same time, I don't really know if Brenda actually did any of those things. And in fact, most of the listeners don't even know if it was true or not. These claims only came from Trace, and Brenda hasn't said a word in response, which, again, she has every right not to, don't get me wrong. In my opinion, Trace may have brought this all up because their breakup didn't end well. That doesn't mean he's lying, but it's clear that there are a lot of emotions still sitting there. And I get it, breakups can leave scars, but unless we hear more or see real evidence, we're all just guessing. Now, I'm not a person who's taking sides because I just don't know enough. I'm not team Trey or team Brenda. I'm team fact. And right now we don't have both sides. Now, if the claims are true, and that's a big if, I think it might be possible that Brenda might have been trying to find a way out of the relationship, especially if it was toxic. And again, I was too young to know what the relationship was real like, but I do feel like there had to be another way. If she was feeling trapped, overwhelmed, or unhappy, there were probably other paths she could have, would have, and should have taken. Healthier ones or more honest ones. There's always a way to walk away that doesn't involve creating chaos. So at the end of the day, all we have right now is Tracy's version of the events. That's it. And until Brenda chose to speak, if she ever does, we're all just piecing things together from one angle. So for me, I'm staying in the middle, hoping the truth comes to light, whatever that may be.
Donnie, before you say something, let's be clear. The whole scenario is stupid. Whatever he's talking about right now is more than 8 years old. So why do we care when this lady's in a whole different relationship? She's engaged to Macaulay Culkin and got kids with him. Why do we care about what this man talking about? But go ahead, Donnie.
Who knew there was Trace? Now you know Michael had Janet, and we know Ashley. We know Jessica had Ashley. I did not know Miley had Trace. I'm excited. I'm excited to know that Miley Cyrus got a little brother. That's all. You know. I'm just happy we got a little brother in the city. That's all.
He look like he kind of tall and he got this dark hair and tattoos on his
He got
neck.
big fat lips.
Nope, they average.
Does he look like Miley? Is he round in the face?
No, he look like himself.
Blonde to the hair.
Black.
Oh well, now look.
It's given if Machine Gun Kelly had a little brother.
Oh.
Yeah, a little dark haired brother. Yeah.
Jack White. Well, now look, you guys. We know today marks the end of Pride Month on the calendar, but let's be clear about something. Just because June is wrapping up, that does not mean we're hitting the pause on celebrating the LGBTQIA plus community. We're not putting that rainbow back in the closet until next year. Nah, around here, Pride is every motherfucking day, every minute, every second. Okay, all year long. So we don't believe in limiting in love, joy, and or identity. The fight for equality to just 30 days, It's not a seasonal thing. It's a part of who we are. It's what we stand for and what we always uplift. And on this show and forward and beyond. So, with that being said, we want to shine a spotlight on someone who deserves all of the flowers, Amber Ruffin.
Amber Ruffin is known from her time in the Amber Ruffin Show or from her work as a writer and performer on late night with Seth Meyers. She's one of the first Black women to write for a late night network show, and she's constantly breaking down barriers with both comedy and heart. Amber's also been open about using her voice to support the LGBTQIA plus community, not just in passing, but in real ways that push conversations forward. Whether she's calling out hypocrisy, standing in solidarity, or simply creating a space where people can laugh and feel seen, she's doing the work. And she does it while rocking glitter, boots, and shoes up in fun that no one can copy. All right, y'all.
Okay, there we go.
All right, y'all. Let's keep it moving because it's time for a segment we would like to call Beyond the Blog. This is where we take it back and talk about some of the wild, shocking, or just straight up unforgettable pop culture moments that happened before the bubble chat was even born. Some of these moments had the internet in a chokehold. Some were buried under bigger headlines, but either way, they deserve their moment. Because let's be real, there's always a story that still makes us say, hold up, did that really happen? Whether it's messy celebrity drama, cultural milestones, or scandals that have folks side eyeing for months, we're digging into the past to talk about it all with fresh eyes and some much needed commentary. So grab your snacks and your opinions because Beyond the Blog is where we bring the receipts and revisit the chaos that helped shape the internet before we were even podcasting. Let's get right into the blog.
Now, let's get into a slow moment that had us all raising an eyebrow because the Instagram etiquette was nowhere to be found. Tamar Braxton recently had posted a clip on her page of Justin Bieber singing Reckless Love in what looked like a church service or maybe even something at a Coachella event. He was joined by gospel singer and worship leader Israel Houghton, who appears to be Adrian Belen Houghton's husband, her co-panelist on what's that show called? The Real. Here's one thing. Tamar didn't film that video herself. It was originally shared on Adrian's Instagram story. But instead of tagging Adrian or even typing a simple repost, Tamar straight up cropped out Adrian's name and posted like it was hers to begin with. No credit, no mention, like nothing. Now, to some folks, it might seem like no big deal or a big deal. But if you know social media, nowadays, that giving credit is a basic respect, especially when it comes to videos of your husband at a worship event. Like, come on now. So, was it intentional or was it shady? We will let you decide. But in an age where influencers and celebs go off over someone not tagging a nail tech, this feels a little bit too deliberate to be an oops. Do you think people in the spotlight should hold themselves to a higher standard when it comes to giving credit? Or is it just petty Instagram politics?
I just want to say this. This is probably going to be one of the most quickest Beyond the Block segments ever because I don't really have much thoughts about this other than to say this was a whole who was Tamar Braxton really fired from the real a mess. That's all I'm going to say.
Jazz?
It just sounds like she didn't have proper etiquette on how to use Instagram. And it got blown out of proportion.
That's true. I mean, and like I said, the social media Instagram etiquette is not where it's not where it once was. It's far beyond. So, I mean, I get it. I mean, but look that we shouldn't be talking about the discredit of that video. We ought to be talking about when K. Michelle had red hair for Field and said she looked like the Muppets all grown up and she was over there crying. And Lonnie Love was sitting there being hella petty, trying not to laugh, talking about tell your story, tell your story, tell your story. We need to be bending the blog on that shit. But I digress. And guess what? That's going to be it for this episode of the Bubble Chat. As always, thank you for kicking it with us, whether you're on your morning commute, winding down after a long day, or just needed a break from the madness. Don't forget to follow, rate, and subscribe so you never miss an episode. And if there's something we said that had you nodding, laughing, or even yelling at your phone, please let us know. Slide into our DMs and drop a comment. We love hearing from all y'all and what you guys think. Now, we'll be back next time with more stories, more tea, and definitely more pop culture. Till then, stay loud, stay proud.
Yeah.
Yeah.